Okay, hopefully that's working. Let's see now if that connection goes through. This is live after a couple tries. Was there more added to this, by the way? Did you add more? Okay, nice. Just talking to my assistant over there.
Coffee boy.
I wish. I wish. Hi, guys. Morning. How is everyone? I'm gonna wait for a few more people to jump on. So we're doing both the Instagram live right now alongside the Freedomizer show, because Jed will be coming on in less than an hour. So I recently learned that my Freedomizer show is on iTunes as well. Thanks to Frances, I believe, on here, who let me know that she's able to listen to the Freedomizer show after the fact and that it's through iTunes. So I'll try to get that link later on as well. I had no idea. I'm not the most technically savvy person, if you haven't figured that out already, but it's going to be a good episode later. So from this, I'm going to be jumping on to completing that show. It's going to go from 10:30 to 12, and we're on our first big chat on the fall of man, you know, kind of why men are vital to civilization, and, you know, kind of the how we've been villainizing them, and we're going to start there. So, oh, hi Esther. She's joining in. I got to meet her adorable children. It wasn't over the weekend. It was this week. I forget that it's midweek right now. But yeah, I got to meet the babies. We got to put the babies together finally. So, all right, guys. Morning. It has been quite a week. This Monsanto thing was such a victory for those that don't know what's going on with Monsanto. Well, they've had their third, they've had multiple lawsuits, but the third big time lawsuit, and this one is just, that amount is insane. $2.055 billion awarded to the Piliod family, husband and wife. They were able to prove that Monsanto had caused their cancer. And there's been 3 judgments similar to this since August of last year. It's definitely, Robert Kennedy Jr., his legal team, this is such a huge victory. And if you guys aren't following him on social media platforms, I would recommend you do, not only to support him. He's in charge of the children'shealthdefense.org, but you know, they are really censoring him all over social media. You have people that are no ones. I mean, I'm talking nobody special, nobody even famous, that get that little, like I said, I'm not technically savvy on here, but when you get that little blue check thing on your Instagram platform, what does that mean exactly? That you are some kind of important figure, you're celebrity, you're well-known, and that is you. That it's not a fake account of you. You don't have to put the real, Robert Kennedy Jr. It's just, that is you. It's been a certified, verified account. Businesses can use that as well if you've got a business, and I think you have to have enough of a following. Well, this guy is not even able to get that. They won't verify his account. Right? Instagram will not verify Robert Kennedy Jr. From the Kennedys. Like, why? They will verify literally, I don't even want to get into who they verified, and you're just like, really? No one cares. But they won't even verify him. And not only that, but on Facebook, they won't allow his page to have a donations button, because what keeps him going to all of these different, I feel like this guy's in a different state every day, whether it's because there's bills all over the place every day. Maine. So then what happened in Maine was really tragic. Like, they just lost their rights to for all, when it comes to all of the vaccines. They're even going after homeschooling families now in Maine. So had a mom that was like, what do I do? Your kids can't go to school. They can't even be homeschooled without being on the CDC schedule. get out of Maine for now. You're going to have to move, see when exactly these things are going to be implemented and then move. What is now keeping you attached to where you are that is more important than your children? Because there's going to come a point, men and women out there, parents that are listening, you have to ask yourself, when is our breaking point? What is it going to take for us to really, like, it doesn't matter what kind of work you have, and that you need to stay in a state that is has zero care for your rights as a parent? What's your breaking point? So any excuse now, just realize, is kind of saying it's more important than your kid's health. And no judgment here. But that's kind of what you're saying. We can't move, though, because my husband's work is over here. Okay, well, realize if you have to get your kid on that schedule and your kid gets some kind of chronic illness that you're going to have to now deal with for the rest of their life, even if it's down to just an allergy that they're going to have to deal with, what have you done to yourself? Now your husband likely is going to have to work more. You might have to not work because you now have to take care of this child for however long at this point to get them back on track. So you'd have to weigh that out, because even a verdict like this Monsanto verdict, where this couple was given $2.something billion, does that money matter to you when you're 76 and 74 years old? You've already made it to your 70s. You and your spouse both diagnosed with cancer. You're still going through this. One of them, their hearing was affected. Their eyesight is affected. Not just, their overall well-being. They've been poisoned by glyphosate. So what does it matter, the $2.something billion? I mean, if you can go out with a bang, what are you going to do at 70-something years old? Money cannot buy health. It cannot buy health. It can be invested in, if you invest in your health while you're younger, and you're already taking the proper precautions while you're younger, using your money for that, then there you go. But they can't just buy back their youth with this money. They can't get that time back, those years back that they've been suffering. It's like, you're happy for them, but you're also just, okay, yeah, it's a lot of money. Okay. And the absolute irony in all of this, that, many people who don't even realize that it was back with the Obama administration that the Monsanto executive Michael Taylor was the head of the FDA. He used to work for Monsanto. Then the Obama administration appointed him head of the FDA for about 6 years. I believe he just left. But these are the people that were now in charge of public health, calling the shots, literally, for our kids. Huge conflict of interest in this. Evil people and just evil institutions. We have to break down these institutions. What are we going to do next, parents? Because even if tomorrow, let's just say in my best dream, that suddenly we all had the rights to make informed decisions again, we were all able to now dictate and determine what goes into our bodies and the bodies of our kids, and without the government, poking at us, there's going to be so much recon work that we're going to have to do. I've been asked by just, a few people with, hey, what would you do then? What are you going to do? I'm going to keep working. This isn't my job. So it's not like I'll be out of a job. There's always going to be things to talk about. And when I say recon work, it's going to be that work that we need to do to ensure that the next generation is not going to make the same big kind of F-ups. So even if our wildest dreams, parents, came true tomorrow, where you woke up and you suddenly had your liberties back and all of your freedoms, we now have a job to do, which is to educate and keep that history alive of look at what happened when people depended on government and when we allowed government to get so big that this many children were injured and damaged. And now we got to deal with healing. So it's going to just be, I'm not going to see it like in my lifetime. This is what's sad. We have to come to that reality. I won't see that in my lifetime, neither will you. Maybe our kids will if they wake up now, you know, if they wake up now. But we're not going to see, we're going to be dealing with the generations of the damaged. That's what I'm going to see, you know, up to my deathbed, unfortunately, is all the damage that was caused and that we're still in the process of healing it and fixing it. So we still have a long road ahead is what I'm saying. And that's if we woke up today and we had our rights back. We still don't have our rights. So who knows? Who knows? Many of us are going to be those old women with the signs going, am I really still protesting this shit? Because look, even if they got rid of all of that, you guys, they are still putting poison, and it is still legal for them to put poison in our food, in our water, in the air above. And we're just twiddling our thumbs. We're just twiddling our thumbs. I'm waiting for, you know, the Liam Neeson of, where's Liam Neeson? Okay, that guy is on my emergency contact list for my kids at school. It's like mother's name, information, address, cell phone, father's name, emergency contact, Liam Neeson. Call this guy because he's going to help us all. But where's that guy? That like the Jason Bourne that's going to go in, infiltrate those at the head, like get to these places, because for these planes to be spraying us all day long like this, you know, oh my gosh, it's so random. It's so random that we were sprayed heavily 2 days ago. I woke up with a really raspy throat, just itch all of a sudden, you know, and then now it's like randomly raining, just on a Tuesday. What is raining down on us? What acid is raining down on us right now? No one's looking up. So there's so much work that still has to be done, is what I'm saying. And the advocacy needs to continue. I love promoting and boosting. I don't work for them, but I love learntherisk.org. If you have the time, go on their site, because they continuously post up stories of vaccine injured families. They hear parents, you know, they believe parents, and they promote, they have a lot of those things that I advocate around town with. You've seen, first, my favorite is the Post-its, okay? Because for $2.99, you get a stack of Post-its. Go ahead and order a bunch if you are able to, because it does take them like 3 to 4 weeks to ship stuff out. Obviously, it's a little, man, I want those now because you get excited for them, but it's a nonprofit, and the people that are putting this all together are volunteers. So they have other jobs. They're just volunteering their time for this movement. You can also get little cards like these, right, that you see me throwing around about town. And, you know, for the people that want to say things like, oh, but isn't that littering? I mean, come on, you guys, really? How many times have you walked up to your car after being at a restaurant, after being at a movie, and there's been like 4x6, 5x7 cards on your car, which you hate? Side note, because I grew up learning like the whole, you got to think like a criminal to catch a criminal. Never get in your car, start the car, and then get out and remove those papers. Like, just drive off. If I'm talking pamphlets for things that are like advertising. But you don't go up to your car, pull out one of those things, look at the information, whether it's a nightclub that's promoting something or whatever, like a house cleaning. You're never like, these people and their propaganda. You know, you might be irritated at best, but you're not going to go and like make a stink about it. You do what everyone else does if they don't want it, which is throw it away, you know, keep it in your car until the next time you're getting gas, and then you toss it out. It's not that big of a deal. But the point with these things is that they see it. So where are some of the best places to put these things? You tell me, because you've seen me get quite creative. Halloween is fun. Halloween with these is fun. You could just put a little hole punch right here and then put like an organic lollipop on it. Boop, there you go. Oh, hi, happy Halloween. There you go. Is it a trick or is it a treat? It's a little bit of both. We want your parents to be informed. You know? There's just one way. I could literally throw these things in everything. When I'm posting those things about town, that's like not even the half of it. If you ever see me putting something like that in like on the top of a can of formula, I did all of those cans. It's just I videoed one, okay? I don't care. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And a Post-it? Who cares about a Post-it? This is how funny and how like our pharmacies that are local here, this is how often goes to show that they clean up and even look through stuff in the top. Some of these Post-its that I'll stick around like the local pharmacies, I'll go back like 5 days later and they're still up. They're still up. So they get to lie to you like Costco. Shame on Costco, you guys. I don't care. Post that all over Costco. Post-its. I invented Post-its. I'm Romy. I invented Post-its. You know, they got the sign up because they're eating the propaganda like, Costco, come on, you guys got rid of Roundup, get with the program here. You know, you go to their pharmacies and they got a big sign printed saying measles vaccine right here. And then in the parentheses, it's like MMR. Why don't you just be honest to begin with? Why don't you tell people it's the MMR shot? You're not just getting measles. We're going to also be injecting you with rubella, with, the mumps. They're not being honest. Who cares? So, and it's funny, the people that, but what about what? They're lying to you all day long. Do you really, really care? Do you care that much? I'm like this short, it might as well just be on my forehead all day long. Really? Okay? And yes, always read the fine print with everything. But these things are great. These things are great to post up anywhere that is public and because here's the thing. Toilet stalls, somebody's sitting down, they're sitting down, they got nothing else to look at. They're gonna have to look at it. Our point here is to just plant seeds. It's not to sit with them and convince them, which is why I keep telling people, do not tag me in posts online for online debates. Do not ask me to come and talk to your sister, talk to your brother who's a doctor, talk to your... This is gonna sound really, really mean. I don't care that much about your family members and friends that genuinely think that this documented poison is going to make them healthy. I'm sorry. Don't tag me unless you want your mother-in-law, whoever, coming back at you with worse. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you sent that person to me to educate me. She was blah, 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 blah. Like, come on, I can't. Don't do it. It's a warning. It's a warning, just like these are a warning. This is all the warning you're going to get. And then you move along. You move on to the people that really want to learn. Know that some people only will learn the hard way. It's not my place, okay? It took me 5 years to convince my own parents to sit and watch a documentary. What makes you think I'm going to invest any of that time for your family? You invest the time if you want to, if they're worth it. And if they're not, move it along. Move it along. You got other people that need to wake up. You know that they're seeing all this news, right? The interesting thing with this is now, what are you going to say now? If you have the family member that was so in denial, so trusting of pharma, and what are they going to say now to this? Hey, did you just hear that Monsanto was sued over an ingredient that is also in vaccines? And the only reason that billions upon billions have not been paid by the manufacturers, because billions have been paid out in vaccine injury by us, because every time you say yes or okay a vaccine for your kid on that schedule, that little 75 cents gets put into a fund, okay, the compensation fund, for those poor people to now have to prove that this thing caused the damage to begin with, because in vaccine court, they do not have to prove to you, once again, that their product is safe. You prove to them that their product did that to you. Like the most backwards kangaroo court you've ever seen. And so now what are they going to say, right? If the vaccine manufacturers had to be the ones to pay these settlements out, they would not be pushing this many vaccines, I promise you. And doctors and nurses would actually do their due diligence and study up on what this stuff is, and not just study payouts, okay? And not just study the schedule. So what are they going to say at this point? Monsanto, they proved in court just Monday that Monsanto discredited scientists, okay, who were connecting glyphosate to cancer. They manipulated scientific research, and they are attempting to influence regulatory agencies. They have lobbied. It's illegal. They did it anyways. What now? What now, fam? And I'm sorry, that at that point, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You have way too many bits of evidence and proof out there on this ingredient alone. You guys have to look up glyphosate, and then here, I'm going to have to pull this up because I'm going to get asked for the links anyway. Okay, so Dr. Stephanie Seneff, who she's multiple interviews online. She talks about the danger of glyphosate. She's literally been screaming this to the hilltops. Nobody is listening. No one is listening. And it is in your vaccines, okay? Childhood cancer is on the rise. Let's not talk about it, though. Let's not talk about that, because so she gives, just to sum up, right? And these are like in her words, in articles and interviews that she's been in, she's talking about how it's also damaging DNA, okay? And disrupting your gut microbiome. So she's saying specifics about the dangers of this very toxic and pervasive chemical called glyphosate. It's the active ingredient in the popular herbicide called Roundup. It's a highly toxic chemical. It's lethal to most plants on our planet. Its toxicity is comparable to DDT. You see, they just figured out different ways, you guys, to just straight poisoning us. Before, it was like right in the face. Right in the face that it's going to help you, caused all the polio, and it caused what you saw. And then people thought that the polio vaccine, that's why I cannot with people and polio. Stop when you try to use that argument, because it was man-made. Just like all of this that's happening right now. Your cancer is man-made. You gotta, it's been associated with fertility problems. If glyphosate is being used all around us, and we got 1 in 8 women that cannot have babies right now, but you know what? It's taboo. It's taboo to talk about it. Don't talk about that. It's like, you know what the news and celebrities and the media and all that would rather you focus time on when it comes to infertility? Let's just have moments of silence for all of these women that are infertile. Let's just share their infertility stories and make T-shirts and make all kinds of things so that we boost them up and normalize infertility in society, instead of looking at it, not shaming the mom who can't have the baby, but asking, do the justice for the person. You know what justice is? Justice is not bringing on these mothers who are infertile and these celebrity moms who are infertile onto talk shows so that they can share their story of infertility. That's not justice. Justice is finding out what made them infertile in the first place. We're not doing any service to these women. They have normalized infertility. They're almost making it trendy. They're making cancer in children trendy. Have you noticed? Jen Aniston, we don't care to see you in another St. Jude's commercial. And any other celebrity that is promoting donate to cancer research, donate to the cure, find the cure. What? There has been billions of dollars donated to all of your garbage, races for the cure, all of these drives you're doing. Decades, you guys have been asking us to donate. You've been asking us to donate since Oprah started Oprah. It's been decades. We don't get to ask? Nonprofits, like we're going to go after nonprofits that are just trying to inform people, right? But we're not going to ask all of these other organizations, Susan G. Komen, hello, excuse me, all of these pink everythings we've been purchasing, billions that have been donated to you guys to find a cure. Can we just get like a status update? Like, what are you guys doing? What have you been doing in the research? What does your research entail? Exactly. So if you want to run on a marathon and if you want to donate money, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying you're donating to St. Jude's cancer research. Why do St. Jude's Children's Hospitals have McDonald's in them? Ronald McDonald Charity House? Okay, your food has cancer-causing ingredients. Why is that being offered to children who have not only been diagnosed with cancer, but are going through remission? Welcome to Crazy Town, maybe? Oh, but I'm crazy. But I'm the crazy one. I'm the conspiracy theorist. Living at home, just like, I do this though. I used to twiddle my thumbs and be able to enjoy a glass of wine, but then when you get down that road far enough, you're like, wine, they're also getting us with the alcohol and they know it. They know it. They want to keep us, you guys, my wine thing. I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to do like a Wine Wednesday like I used to, okay? But this is going to be more like I'm in recovery, but I'm still processing and going through the thoughts because too many of us women are going through this too. But you know, so this scientist, right? She's one of Globe's foremost experts in researching how glyphosate affects the human body. She's a PhD senior research scientist at MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. She's got a bachelor's degree in biophysics, MS, EE degrees, electrical engineering, a PhD in electrical engineering and computer science from MIT. She's pretty flipping qualified to talk about this, I would say. They're discrediting her because she's calling them out on what glyphosate and the exposure of it is doing to our health. So it's not just in ingesting it, it's literally just being exposed to it. It's you walking by your neighborhood park thinking, what a great day to let my kids like slide on the slide and, you know, play and roll around in the grass. And you're breathing in this crap that is sprayed all around us. We've read about the dangers of GMO. We already know, okay? Genetically modified organisms in crops, things like all of our corn, sugar beets, canola oil, tobacco, alfalfa, cotton. We learned GMO foods are causing all kinds of health problems, okay? And when nature's balance is rearranged, it can cause very serious consequences, according to Dr. Seneff. It has been established that GMO foods have been linked to premature death, gastric lesions, liver, kidney damage, organic organ failure, allergic reactions, and much more. What happens when GMO crops are sprayed now with glyphosate? The damage escalates to an unprecedented level. Once sprayed, glyphosate cannot be washed off, and it ends up being absorbed into every cell of the GMO plants. Dr. Seneff points out that because GMO plants have a bacterial gene inserted in their genome, they become resistant to glyphosate. And as a result, GMO crops are able to survive extremely high levels of Roundup without dying. Because of their resistance in the last few years, glyphosate use has increased by 800%. All right? She's linked it to cancer. Glyphosate is what Dr. Seneff calls the monster molecule. It affects human biology in many ways. It was first patented as a chelating agent for heavy metals to clear pipes. The second patient was for use as an antimicrobial agent, and lastly patented as an herbicide. So in March of this year, the World Health Organization did recognize glyphosate as a probable carcinogen. Oh my, just same World Health. I know you guys are like the same WHO that thinks that if you question vaccines, you're a global health threat. Yes, that same who. Because it is backwards. Because you saw my post from yesterday. You guys, I can't even get it. This would take another hour to get into what glyphosate does to the gut. It is so disgusting. And her research is flooded. It's all over the place. It endangers the heart. Cholesterol is not the enemy, okay? Cholesterol and the brain, what glyphosate is doing and how it's disrupting all of our pathways. Glyphosate, sugar, and weight gain. Look that up, okay? Glyphosate saps energy and compromises adrenal health. Look that up as well. What can we do ultimately in this besides informing others and letting people know? Exactly what Kennedy just did. You have to fight them back. You have to fight them back. So you would spell her name. I want to spell it properly. They're like spelled Stephanie. But the thing is, if I say it's spelled how Stephanie is supposed to be spelled, some of you will be like, no, that's not how you spell Stephanie. But this is how I think Stephanie needs to be spelled. Somebody put Stephanie. There we go. Oh, hi, Samantha. She's on here. Senef. There. I mean, she just spelled it for me, so thank you. But, okay, so moving on. How do I now put this comment thing down? Okay, great, thank you. Whatever and however that worked. So now what? Recon work. I got a bone to pick with, and you know, I appreciate it. I, along with girls like Samantha and Janny and Ro, you know, we're being followed by a lot of people in the health industry, whether you're in public health, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, RN, whatever. And it's great how supportive you guys have been in just the information that we're trying to get out there, okay? Because you understand, like, we're just trying to inform other parents. But I continue to get messages. When I first started getting messages from nurses and doctors admitting that they do know nothing about the vaccine topic and that, you know, but keep going, keep trucking, we support you. You know, I got to admit, when I first received messages like that, it was definitely no pat on the back at all. It was vindicating, to say the least, because more for a personal level, all of the arguments that I was having with family and friends who constantly just wanted to be like, you're not a doctor. You're not a scientist. You're not a nurse. So then when I would get these messages and screenshot them, I would send these in group form to family members. I would say, because for me, it was more vindication. Okay, I know I'm not a doctor, but look at what all these doctors are admitting to. And if you need that in your life right now, I can show you a thread that's going to make your jaw drop. But now, after reading through enough of these and getting enough of these daily at this point, I'm a little pissed. My whole vindication, yes, you know, has turned into more of that righteous anger that I display often. Because how do you sleep at night? Is the nice way to ask that. How do you then sleep at night? There is a huge thread that circulated, okay, last October. And but before that, I'm going to just show you a sample of a message that I received, okay? Because I think that it's important for you guys to see exactly what I'm talking about with the kind of messages I receive. And then you make that call, okay? Because you might not be a doctor, you might not be a nurse either, and you might be going through the exact same kind of backlash from family members, okay? And many of these family members might be doctors and nurses themselves. Please check out, Physicians for Informed Consent. Without showing this girl's name, how do I not show her name here? Okay, so I had to save a screenshot because I can't share it this way. But here's the first instance, okay? I've been watching more of your content and saw that you already talked about that form the pediatricians want you to sign. I'm happy to say I've only been to 2 well baby visits for my 3-month-old. It was the first visit and the 1-week visit. I'm so done with them. Being an ER nurse, I'm so over the lies. I see the babies coming in with seizures from vaccinations, and it's swept under the rug as fever seizures. I try to have the parents correlate that they just have their children vaccines, and now they are not the same baby they were prior to the vaccine. Okay, so that's one message I got. This is how I responded with, but your protocol is not to say anything. And then, sorry, I'll put this here because I'm gonna have to scroll up on this without showing the name. Okay, so then I said, your protocol is not to say anything. And she responds with, pretty much every time a child comes in with high fevers or seizures, I ask if they have been vaccinated recently, which of course they have. Then I say that's really interesting that it was so close to vaccinations. I wonder if there is a correlation. I try to wake them up without getting fired. It's heartbreaking. I always tell them that they're in control of their health and their children's health, that they're the boss and need to do their research before we can give them anything. And can proudly say I've talked many people out of getting the DTaP tetanus vaccine and the flu vaccine, even with the excuse that, hold on. Okay. Even with the excuse that it's more expensive in the ER. Take the night to think about it, and if they really think they need it, they can get it at their PCPS office later. I have to be careful now how I phrase things, but one thing I cannot get in trouble for is encouraging parents and individuals that they're in control and the boss of their health. Okay? So, just as one. That was just like one that came in yesterday. The other thing I wanted to show you guys was this thread, which we will not have the time to go over the entire thing. So I'm going to let you take that upon yourself, because if you really want to have these debates and discussions with family members, this would be a really great source, I think. So Maria Jo Torres, okay, she's a friend of mine on Facebook. She asked in October 2018. This is all her status updates said, okay? This is all she asked. If you're an RN or doctor, what did you learn about vaccines in med school? All right, there's a lot of people who ended up commenting on this. This ended up getting a lot of shares. Starting with the first, so once again, only RNs and doctors could answer on this thread. All right, look this up, Maria Jo Torres. So only they could respond. Nothing is one. This person responds, learned what we were supposed to give them. This person responds, aside from how to administer, one question on a test in my PEDS class, at what age is varicella vaccine given? So then you have people that are like, great, nice to see some honest answers. This person responds, we were taught the CDC schedule. They didn't go in depth about any vaccine. We did not go over ingredients, side effects, or anything. We were told they were safe. They didn't cause autism. They were required for school. It was literally about a 5 to 10 minute conversation. Okay, this person, for vet tech and assistant school, just how to give them and placement and what reactions they can get from them, nothing more. I learned the hard way working, and the things I've seen made me stop vaccinating my animals, and I use that research and life experience to not vaccinate my kids. Okay, I'm just saying, you guys, this list goes on. The schedule, how to administer, possible side effects, and I think I saw a picture of someone with tetanus and the measles. This is all I was taught too. The schedule, how to give, and normal side effects. Okay, look at this. My dad and sister are doctors. I know more about vaccines than them. You probably do, you guys. You probably know more about vaccines than any nurse if you've even sat through and watched like one highlight. Because they don't learn this stuff. They don't learn this stuff. And I'm over this like, don't shame doctors and don't shame nurses. Shame on you for promoting and pushing a product onto a parent and then using fear for them to be vaccinating their kids when you know nothing about it. Because last I checked, all that shame is going to do to a doctor is maybe make them toss and turn in their bed at night for a little bit and push them to look into this further, versus what you've just done to a child that cannot speak and tell their parents what hurts and where it hurts. Okay? We, nurses, and they, doctors, don't learn about vaccines. All we're taught is how to give them. How many of these do you need to see? How many of these does your family need to see? How much is it going to take to convince people to now look into stuff? Okay, because this thread goes on forever. My husband is an RN. He said it's laughable what little they learn about vaccines. You know, we used to see a neurologist. He said he was taught in medical school that vaccines do cause autism, but it is rare and vaccines are still necessary. Like, come on. So now what are you going to do? Whose time are you going to waste? You're going to waste my time? You're going to waste your own time? This is all the proof you need. Nobody cares is what I'm saying. Nobody cares now if you want to come up at anybody that's trying to educate out of like their own free time to now come at her name is Maria Jo Torres. Look her up. Just put Maria Jo Torres, doctors, RNs, what do you learn about in med school? You should see, because this got shared over 2,000 times since October. It's an eye-opener. And they need to see that. Now what are they going to say? What is your brother in med school going to say? He's going to literally tell you that the 500-something doctors and RNs that came on this thread were lying? Maybe he could prove you wrong. Maybe it's time for you to stop proving to them. Ever thought about that? Maybe it's time to put the ball of proof back in the court, you know, of the people that are promoting and pushing this stuff to begin with. It's up to them. Why is it up to you ever to prove this stuff? Okay, that's all they're taught. This girl goes, they're safe, they're good, and here's how to give them. The end. We know what you are taught now in med school. The excuse of that you're not a doctor, you're not a nurse, is squashed. It is Dunsky. Okay? They're not taught shit. And yet your kid gets to be their science experiment. Your kid's going to be the science experiment. Not today. Not today. So how do you sleep at night? And I already pretty much know the answer to this, okay? The reason that people want to use the cognitive dissonance, the reason that the people want to use the, it's easier for them to just throw back at you the same regurgitated lines of the science is settled, you know, vaccines are safe, and you know, here's measles deaths in India to freak you out with today, is because if you do not know, you don't have a guilt conscience hanging over your head because it is your line of work at stake. So if you do not know, it's better for them to not know and do the research. So for those that are sitting back wondering, why is my brother not looking into this? Why is my sister-in-law and all these people that you know that are in med school or they're already practicing pediatricians, and why are they not looking into any of this stuff? Cognitive dissonance, because it's better that they don't know, because the minute that they research what you sent them, they have to now own up to a few things, don't you think? They got to answer to a few things. But if they can say, well, I didn't know, they're forgiven. This is what they need to realize. You're forgiven up to the point of knowing. So the longer they can push off not knowing, you know, maybe they just purchased a yacht last weekend. You don't know. Maybe they got to spend, even though they're getting big bonuses from CDC, from pharma, you know, we've seen their bonuses to keep your kid on that schedule. You don't know what financial debt they're in. Maybe they still owe another $60,000 to med school. They're waiting to pay that off. Maybe they still got to pay off now their mortgage. That was the plan, because they're now making the 6 figures a year. So they after paying off med school debt, moved into the gated community, and maybe they got a mortgage now in an HOA that's crazy, and maybe their spouse now has a Nordstrom bill that they're supporting. Okay, honey, your Nordstrom budget is $2,000 every month. Here's a card. Yeah, I'm just saying, you guys. You got to think like that too. Maybe them admitting to and opening up to now looking at a link. Now that they can't gaslight a parent that you're sending over to them. That means now that all of those things are going to need to kind of dwindle on out of their life. It's a harder pill to swallow than just fact, okay? Apparently. There's a lot there. If you've now upped your life, because if you're on the $20,000 salary, right? It's different than when you jump to the $50,000 salary. Okay, that's different. The 6-figure salary, the $250K salary that many of these doctors are on, the $500,000 salary, and then the bonuses. You guys, you're up in a different racket. You're up in a different tier. Your kids get to go to the private schools that are $1,600 a month for their tuition. Their outfits, just their sports, the extracurriculars. You're talking different. I mean, they've still got the same problems, maintaining now a different lifestyle. We're not even considering this. That is a hard pill for them to swallow and own up to. Okay? They're now in the bracket where they can afford the non-Monsanto food. Give them a break. Give them a break. But so meanwhile, while they're only looking out for number one, because that's what that interprets to you. Oh, okay. Okay, their spouse is now cushy. Yeah, hey, look, I know a bunch of kids are getting damaged by this stuff in the back of my head, but my wife is now finally accepted into the Real Housewife Society of whatever town we're in. And that's going to really burst her bubble for me to say, hey, honey, so we're going to have to backtrack, get out of the gated community. Our kids can no longer go to these schools. We're going to have to, mow our own lawns because kids are dying, and I'm not able to really function in life. I can't quite breathe at night because I now know these truths. Why do you think so many of them would rather just wait till they're somewhere in their 50s and 60s when they've set up their kids and then blow their brains out because they can't live with the guilt? How many of us get to that in life? Yeah, I know what I need to do. But I also want the white kitchen, kind of. And if I just go at this a little longer, I can get, the garden I've always wanted. And then I can help the babies. Well, guess what? Those same people that could do this now, right? Don't go playing this game, because we're going to be ultimately hypocrites in the long run too, aren't we? That who's looking out for number one? Well, you're not fighting because you're hoping somebody else just pushes in on the fight for a little bit, because you don't want to leave your cushy life in California. You don't want your husband to leave the job that's giving him $10,000 a month. Why? What's that going to mean for you? We have to ask ourselves these things. And this is why I'm always starting off with you. I'm not judging you, but realize they're not going to look into this stuff so long as they have accepted and have fallen deeper into the, I want that life. I want that life. Even if it means that some babies have to die. But as long as I don't look into these baby deaths yet, I can use the excuse of, I didn't know. And maybe a lot of your family members don't want to look into this stuff. Have you ever considered they don't want to look into this stuff Because how's that going to change and 180 their life now? What's that going to do? Because I feel too like every time that I just get to the next level of like, okay, whew, that car's paid off. Great. Another bomb gets thrown on me with, okay, now what? Freaking now what? With everything in life. It's what we're dealing with. It's what we're dealing with. You guys realize we're all just playing the game of life, right? Everyone is playing the game of life. And it's a lot of it is survival. Okay, fine. But we're all in this game of life together. We're all just a bunch of debt slaves paying off past bad decisions. Isn't that all this is? So it's kind of like, good morning, debt slave. Good morning, fellow debt slave. How are you? How are you fixing life today? What are you doing to no longer be in debt? Okay? Catch the Vibes is saying, I was in the process of gutting my kitchen. You guys, I stare at this kitchen every day too. I stare at my floors because we got those ugly tile floors that have like the grout that just is impossible. You get a quote on it. They're like, okay, to clean all of that tile with all of that grout, it's going to be like $2,000. And then you go, I might as well get new flooring. I would love to have better flooring. That's been what I've wanted for 3 years. Every time I get extra where I'm like, oh, we want new floors. No, what did we end up doing? If we get extra money, we're like, let's just pay off the rest of this lease on this car because I'm done. I'm over that. I'm over that lease. I literally just pay it off for the rest of the year. Okay, because those things chain you down so that you cannot move any further. Your student loans chain you down. Everything is chaining you down. Even if you had no mortgage, living exactly where you wanted to live and be. You got property tax because you're never going to own the land that you think you own. You got to at least make close to $1,000 a month in order to feed your children food that is not poison. I'm looking at my son right now. He's 6. Oh, he's 6 today. He's in school. It's his birthday. He's 6 and his appetite is just growing, right? I'm staring at how he eats and I'm looking at Enzo with his roly rolls and I'm anticipating what is life going to be like for Jeff and I. Flash forward to their teenage years when boys who are teenagers that are active are just nonstop garbage disposal eaters. And we can't just feed them what our parents used to feed us. Oh, you come home from school, right? Go into the pantry. It's nothing but a cup of noodles. Go get you some ramen. How many of us lived on that? You know, my ramen's different today because I threw lime in it. A little bit of lime and tapatio. That did up my ramen to another level. Thank you, every Latino friend of mine. Okay, Latino. Thank you to all of my Latino friends for introducing me to that. It's like, this brings ramen just, I feel like I'm at it's gourmet. Okay? But we're going to have to do different. How am I going to do this? Knowing that everything's being sprayed. You know, when you're forced to be healthy because you just don't want to die. Not because it's trendy anymore. Oh my gosh, those girls with their like all organic, all whole foods. Like I used to be that person that would just make fun of the people that did that all day long. Like, really? Your kid can't eat a French fry? Really? Not one French fry? You know that the minute you turn your back, they're going to eat a French fry, right? You know it's going to take just one kid to introduce them to that on the bus, okay? And they're going to be like, why have I been deprived of this entire time? I used to make fun of that. I had a cousin who, her kids could only play with wooden toys. Like, she was extreme. Like, she didn't even allow her kids to go over and play with your kids because all your kids' toys are made in China, and she doesn't even want her kids touching your China plastic toy, okay? She, not easy, right? That's why it's funny to be like, I had a cousin, because I don't see this person anymore. None of us see her, because she was literally like, F all of you with your poison, goodbye. Don't even come near my kids. She went that was the extreme. Because there was one time we were all at a mall food court, and I think she's the type that, like, you know, she also has staff, so her maids were the ones that prepped everything organic and whole for her kid. And, you know, my dad was sitting next to her son at a food court years ago, and this was the last time I think she hung out with my dad because she leaves for a second to go get something, right, that probably had to go to the grocery and then bring the food back. I don't know. But she comes back and her son is sitting there. My dad had Arby's and like fries. And the boy was just like sitting like this, staring at my dad's fries like this. So my dad, not knowing about her whole like routine, looks at, you know, his grandnephew, and he's like, hey, you want one? And this boy's like, also then looking at the maid, the yaya, making sure that like she doesn't say anything, reaches for the fry from Arby's, and he's like, okay. And I'm sitting back like, maybe I should have said something, because I'm kind of sitting back knowing that maybe the mom wouldn't want that. But a part of me was also like, what if I wasn't here? I'm just going to observe. I'm just observing as if I'm not here. So I did actually, I think at that point I did walk away. I was like, oh, that's happening. I don't want to be an accomplice. So I didn't say anything, but I had taken my son to go look at other options at the food court. Anyways, we're all sitting there. My cousin comes back, sees her son continuing to eat these fries, snaps, of course, at the maid. Why is he eating McDonald's? Like, lost her mind, okay? And my dad is there taken aback, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is Arby's. This is not McDonald's, okay? But so now, like, none of us in the family understood her. None of us understood her. Not even an antibiotic for her kid. One of her kids pretty much ended up getting pneumonia because she refused any medication, anything at all for her kid, let a 3-week cough go on to where it became, you know, extreme is what I'm telling you. And not that we would make fun of, but we were just like, oh, you guys. I am slowly turning into everything and everyone that I poked fun at because I just don't want to die at this point. I just don't want to die right now. I hate this. I hate this. Is what I'm saying. I don't want to do it. Over the weekend, I had you know, like I said, there was Domino's at the party, and I didn't eat. I was the only one in my house that did not partake in the Domino's, and I was the only one, coincidentally, that didn't have the runs the next day, like the runs, legit. Okay, it's bad stuff that's in this food. You guys saw what was in the food at the schools, right? How many of you were watching Fed Up yesterday, that documentary? So much wrong, so much terrible in the food in our schools. And you saw that list. For many of those who asked, they're like, well, what do you pack for your kids? Look, Jeff and I pack whatever we want for our kids. You should see the highlight, allergies and vax, okay? We pack whatever we want. We don't listen to those lists. We have to tell our kid, you know, before you had to tell your kid, to share their food. It was like a different, make sure you share. Now it's like messed up, but we have to be like, okay, look, you cannot share food with other kids. I had to let my daughter watch My Girl. You know that movie, My Girl? Macaulay Culkin, right? How many of us were like, you have to watch Home Alone right after watching My Girl because you got to be like, okay, I'm not sad anymore. I had to make them watch that so that they could see what allergies can do so that they don't share their food with other children. All right? These kids who have allergies to things like this can die. And that's this life we're living in right now. That's this world we're living in. So that anyway, I did a whole talk with the allergy and vax thing. I'm going to jump now. If you guys want to listen in, Jed is on the other line. I wish he would just jump on Instagram Lives, but my brother is like anti-social media a little bit. That's a good thing, I guess. But we're going to be discussing the fall of man. We're about to jump into that chat. So I'm going to end the Instagram live here, but we're on freedomizerradio.com, and we will continue a talk tomorrow on another live. So you guys take care if you're tuning out. Bye. Okay, so saving on this. Jed, it looks like you're ready to jump on, so I'm going to go ahead and dial you in. Here we go. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, sorry, I know you've been on for just a little bit here. Thanks for waiting. We were wrapping up a live. We had a few things we were discussing, that really big Monsanto lawsuit that